All right. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. We are back. We are. Hold on. Is this the first Shabbat we was back since we came back from? We are back from Sukkot. Actually, we broadcasted from home on the last great day. But we're back from the feast days. We've had all of our enjoying moments that we can have for 1 year. Um, the feast season is sadly come and gone. Sadly, we have to wait all the way until the springtime until we're able to celebrate in that fashion. We actually have a feast day every week, which is Shabbat. But its set apart times have come and gone. And so, during the feast time, we entered into, the season of sowing. So we think about, these seasons that go by and, the winter, right? And so when we think about this from a spiritual perspective, we have our seeds sown, during this sowing time for them to, kind of incubate and grow, and for the water to come down and kind of moisten and saturate the land, and to kind of get ready for us to spring forth in the springtime. So just because these feast days have passed, this is actually the perfect time for you to sow some seeds of righteousness in your life, and give those things time to marinate and grow, and so that in the springtime you'll have something birthed from that. So saying all that just to say, it's sad that the feast times are over, but it's actually kind of the beginning of a new time that's coming. Yeah. Okay, so that being said, like the video, share the video. We'll go ahead and get ready to get started over here. Today, we're going to be looking at our triennial Torah portion. We're looking at Genesis, Bereshit 10 and 11. Bereshit 10 and 11. And we'll be dealing primarily with the Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel. So let us go ahead and pull up our verses. We'll read through chapter 10 and deal with that some, and then we'll go ahead on to chapter 11. So let me go ahead and, for us up on the screen, pull up Genesis chapter 10 so we can go ahead and read it. All right, let me put this up here. All right, very good. Go ahead and read for us nice and loud. Bereshit 10, starting with the first verse.
And this is the genealogy of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And the sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, and Madai, and Yawan, and Tubal, and Meshech, and Tiras. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Repha, and Togarmah. Hogarma, yes. And the sons of Yawan, Elisha, and Tarshish, and Kittim, and Dodanim. From these, the coastland peoples of the nations were separated into their lands, everyone according to his language, according to their clans into their nations. And the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mitzrayim, and Put, and Canaan. And the sons of Cush, Seba, and Hawilah, and Sabta, and Ramah, and Sabteka. And the sons of Ramah, Sheba, and Dedan. And Cush brought forth Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before Yahweh. Therefore, it is said, like Nimrod, the mighty hunter before Yahweh. And the beginning of his reign was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh, and in the land of Shinar. From that land he went to Asher and built Nineveh, and Rehoboth Ir, and Keilah, and Resen, between Nineveh and Keilah, the great city. And Mitzrayim brought forth Ludim and Ananim and Lehabim and Naphtuhim. Hopefully I'm getting these names right. And Pathrusim and Casluhim, from whom came the Philistines and Caphtorim. And Canaan brought forth Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgashite, and the Hivite, and the Archite, and the Sinite, and the Arwadite, and the Semorite, and the Hamathite, and afterward the clans of the Canaanites were spread abroad. And the border of the Canaanites was from Sidon, as you go toward Gerar, as far as Azah, as you go toward Sadom, and Amorah, and Admah, and Seboyim, as far as Lasha. These were the sons of Ham, according to their clans, according to their languages, in their lands, in their nations. And also to Shem, the father of the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth, the elder, children were born. The sons of Shem, Elam, and Asher, and Arpachshad, and Lud, and Aram. And the sons of Aram were Utz, and Hul, and Gether, and Mash. And Arpachshad brought forth Shelah, and Shelah brought forth Eber. And to Eber were born two sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided. And his brother's name was Yoktan. And Yoktan brought forth Almodad, and Shelef, and Hatsar-maweth, and Yera, and Hadoram, and Uzzal, and Dikla, and Obal, and Abimael, and Sheba, and Ophir, and Havilah, and Yobab. All these were sons of Yoktan. And their dwelling place from Mesha, as you go towards Sephir, a mountain of the east. Though these were the sons of Shem, according to their clans, according to their languages, in their lands, according to their nations. These were the clans of the sons of Noah, according to their generations, in their nations. And from these, the nations were divided on the earth after the flood.
All right. Very good. Lots of interesting names.
Yes.
As we look at here. So let's go back up. Let's go back up and look at a few things kind of as a pretext, moving into the next chapter. Some things that we can take note of as we move forward. Let's go up here back to the beginning and go up to verses 5. Let's drop down to verse 5. We see, well, first of all, we see that this is the genealogy. These are the generations of the sons of Noah, right? Shem, Ham, Japheth. And so it deals with all of their sons, the sons of the sons of Noah. We know that Noah, of course, and the people that were in the ark with him were the ones that were going to repopulate, replenish the earth. And, from that, there was a great task that was given to these three families, essentially, with the task of repopulating the earth. And so we see over here kind of the divisions of that. But one thing I wanted to take note of here is when we look at verse 5, again, just so that we can have something to remember moving forward. Let's look at verse 5 where it says that in regards to the sons of Japheth, right? Gomer, Magog, Madai, Yawan. And it gives you the sons of the sons, and says that these were the coastland peoples of the nations. They were separated in their lands. When you look at these, this word here, the coastland peoples, is kind of dealing with those that were, kind of near water. These were places, these people went and kind of dwelled in places that was kind of near water, right? You think about the coast, you think about water, right? These were these coastland peoples, and they went to these particular places. But I wanted to call attention to verse 5. Oh, wait, 1 second here. Where it says languages.
Where we at?
Verse 5. The nations, the Gentiles, were divided in their lands, every one after his tongue. They were divided after their tongue, after their families, after their nation. This word here, tongue, if I can get my cursor together here, is scroll down here, Lashan. Lashan, which means tongue, literal tongue, the organ of speech, language. Let's go down to the Strongs. I just got this new situation and I didn't organize which way I wanted these dictionaries to list. I have Strong's all the way at the bottom there. Okay. The tongue of man or animals used literally as the instrument of licking, eating, or speech. Figuratively, speech, a fork or a flame, babbler, speaker language, tongue wedge. So this is a word that the translator translated it as language, and I wanted to take note of that. But when you think about someone's tongue, you could be speaking of a language, like English, French, Hebrew, right? A whole language. But you also could be speaking about just dialects, versions of the same language. We live in America, and there's different dialects, different uh,
British.
different ways that we speak one particular language. Where to an extent, someone could be speaking the same language and you not know what they're saying, right? Because of dialect, because of different euphemisms that are used. And I think because of what we'll see in the next chapter, I think that here, these people that are speaking according to their own language doesn't necessarily mean that they have a totally different language at this time. I think that what we see over here is kind of it's dialect, it's variations of one particular thing, and we'll see why I'm saying this as we move forward. Because again, when we look at the definition of this word, it's kind of a broad kind of thing in terms of this word here, Lashon, where it could be a language, it could be speech or a type of speech, right? The way in which you're using speech, right? So it's not necessarily language just because we're looking at the translation that's given it to us as language. Something interesting that I found here, and you can, look at it and do with it what you will. Many people look at this chapter and want to, decide, what peoples, belong to which of the sons. It's an interesting thing. I don't want to diminish it if someone thinks that it's a weighty thing. That's their prerogative to do so. I found this, in my looking. Let me see if I can magnify this so that no, you can't see it that way.
Oh, wow.
Hold on one second here. Let's see here. Oh, that's better there. Okay, so this is a little tree. My genealogist's wife is probably familiar with this layout here. We look at the different brothers here: Shem, Ham, Japheth, and the different sons and nations that came out from them. We see basically the first generation here from the sons in the chapter here. So we look at Shem and his children, and then the children that are said to have come from them. We see the Persian tribes are said to have come from Elam. The Assyrians, they're from this son here, Asher, Abraham, and we know who his descendants are, the Lydians and the Syrians, right? If we go down here, and like I said, if you care to make note and do your own research on these different places over here, I just thought this was just an interesting little thing to put up here. Ham, we have Cush and the Ethiopians and their colonies. Mitzrayim, of course, Egypt and their colonies. Put the Libyans and the Mauritanians. Interesting. The Canaanites, the Phoenicians and their colonies, we see came from Ham. Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, all of these different tribes that they have, that are being said. I thought this was interesting. The Caucasians. When looking at this, I've seen that there was a point in time when we started calling Europeans Caucasians, when in fact all Caucasians are Europeans, but all Europeans aren't actually Caucasians. But there was a time when this moniker, I guess, kind of became kind of universal, right? Where when you look, all of these kind of these people groups here kind of span across Europe and Asia. These people from Japheth. If you look and do the like I said, do the research, you can take yourself a little screenshot of this, or if you care enough, I'll send it to you if you email or something. But anyway, I just wanted to put that up there just to take a look at these various nations. And I wanted to also make note, we go back to the scriptures here. Make note of verse 9. Drop down to verse 9. Read again verse 9 for us here.
He was a mighty hunter before Yahweh. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, the mighty hunter before Yahweh.
And 10.
And the beginning of his reign was Babel and Erech and Akkad and Calneh and in the land of Shinar.
Okay, very good. So Nimrod, this ruler, the beginning of his reign being Babel, which is in the land of Shinar. This is something to take note of, again, moving forward. And also, again, in all of these verses, when it deals with each of the family groups, when it gets to the end, it says, like it said with Japheth, it also repeats with Ham in verse 20, that these were the sons of Ham according to their clans, according to their languages, which is our word here, Lashon, or Lashon, which again is tongue, translated as languages. And so it kind of gives you the idea that these people were kind of speaking differently, or speaking according to their family groups, which I think, again, based on what we'll see later, I think the idea is more of a one language, but a different style of a particular language. Mm-hmm. With that in mind, I think I wanted to just go ahead and get into 11, because it's kind of a building block. 10 kind of builds a foundation for what we see in 11. When we think about verse 10, we think about the fact that the Most High gave a particular edict, command to the people to go and populate the earth, to be fruitful and multiply and spread across the earth. Okay, and so it's like in 10 we see this beginning. We see the sons having sons having sons, and having clans and having ways about them.
Cultures.
Yes, they have their own things that they have, nations and cultures, right? Which seems to be going along with the command that the Most High said. That command being, go out, be fruitful, and multiply, replenish the earth. The earth was wiped out, and their job was to repopulate the earth. And so when we look at chapter 10, it looks like that's happening. It looks like the Most High's will is being done, through these, the spreading of the people and their nations and their supposed languages and clans and so on and so forth. But when we look over at chapter 11, which we'll read, and I think that we'll actually see what actually is going on. So let's go over here. Let's read 11 so we can add this to our thoughts. Over here, chapter 11.
Chapter 11.
And begin to read at verse 1 there.
And all the earth had one language and one speech. And it came to be, as they set out from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said to each other, come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and they had asphalt for mortar. And they said, come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower whose top is in the heavens, and make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered over all the face of the earth. Then Yahweh came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men had built. And Yahweh said, look, they are one people, and they all have one language, and this is what they begin to do. And now they are not going to be withheld from doing whatever they plan to do. Come, let us go there and confuse their language, so that they do not understand one another's speech. And Yahweh scattered them from there over the face of all the earth, and they left off building the city. That is why its name was called Babel, because there Yahweh confused the language of all the earth, and from there Yahweh scattered them over the face of all the earth. This is the genealogy of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and brought forth Arpachshad 2 years after the flood. And after he brought forth Arpachshad, Shem lived 500 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Arpachshad lived 35 years and brought forth Shelah. And after he brought forth Shelah, Arpachshad lived 403 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Shelah lived 30 years and brought forth a bear. And after he brought forth a bear, Shelah lived 403 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And a bear lived 34 years and brought forth Peleg. And after he brought forth Peleg, a bear lived 430 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years and brought forth Reu. And after he brought forth Reu, Peleg lived 209 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Reu lived 32 years and brought forth Serug. And after he brought forth Serug, Reu lived 207 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years and brought forth Nahor. And after he brought forth Nahor, Serug lived 200 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 29 years and brought forth Terah. And after he brought forth Terah, Nahor lived 119 years and brought forth sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and brought forth Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And this is the genealogy of Terah. Terah brought forth Abram, Nahor, and Haran brought forth Lot. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his birth in Kasdim. And Abram and Nahor took wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah. And the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Yiscah. And Sarai was barren; she had no child. And Terah took his son Abram and his grandson Lot, son of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, his son Abram's wife, and they went out with them from Kasdim to go to the land of Canaan. And they came to Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terah came to be 205 years. And Terah died in Haran.
Okay, very good. So it's interesting. We'll kind of start at the end and move backwards. It's interesting that we see that, we started off with this kind of a genealogy that's kind of all inclusive, that deals with, all of the sons of Noah and their sons and their sons' sons. And, it's giving you kind of this general thing.
Mm-hmm.
But as it moves forward, it brings us down to Abraham, or Abram at this point here, and we see, of course, becomes the star of the show moving forward. The story, begins to be about Avram and those that come after. So we see all of this, all of these things working towards an end, which is to get us to Avram, who, of course, we know is the father of the people of the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's one of the things that we see going on. But also, we see this thing that kind of moves us in that direction, which is this idea of the people, as it says back in verse 1, having this one language and one speech. And so we looked at this word language in the 10th chapter, so that when we get over to 11, we look at this over here, where this word here is let me scroll down here to this word here is Safa. Safa, okay, which is a different word than Lashon, right? Lashon, it's another word that's translated the same way, right? So we know that in chapter 10, that the tribes had their own language, right? But when we look over at chapter 11, we see this word being used, which is also translated as language. But the idea here is that all of the earth had one language. So this, is obviously something different than what the nations were doing, right? The nations, they had a language that was specific to themselves, and then Lashon, right? And then all of the earth had one language and one Devar, right? One word, one arrangement of words. They spoke the same language, right? This is the point, all of the earth, right? And so we don't know exactly what it is that the scripture is trying to tell us, because we have these two words here and they both mean language. But when we look back, again, putting them together, when we look at chapter 10, they spoke a language that seems specific to each clan, each nation. But the issue over in chapter 11 is that all of the earth had one language. So they was able to communicate one with another, right? There was one language, one speech. And they came to this land of Shinar, okay? Which, again, we remember, this is the place where Nimrod ruled, right? Babel was in the land of Shinar. Okay, so they go over to this place over here. People begin to gather in this area and kind of make their home to be in this particular place over here. And they begin to form this building, right? This tower, right? That they made out of bricks. This tower, whose top, in this translation, it says whose top is in the heavens. Other translations say that the top is to the heavens, or kind of for the heavens. When we look at this, you could think of it as a tall structure, but you can also think of it as something that's kind of dedicated to the heavens, right? So it wasn't necessarily that it was, it's not necessarily only giving you the idea of this being tall building, but it's giving you the idea of this something being something dedicated to the heavens, right? There was a type of veneration that was going on over here, which helps us to understand why the Most High was so upset about this. You know, he told the people to go out and replenish the earth. They began to do so. What's the issue here? That's what they're doing, right? However, I think that what we see here is that the Most High is actually calling for there to actually be some type of what's the word? Differentiation, diversity in the earth, right? But we have kind of this singular thought that's going on, these singular ideas that are being kind of concentrated in this particular area, this land of Shinar, these people in this tower of Babel. And the thing that they're doing turns out to be this thing that is unto the heavens, where we find that these people are getting into these pagan practices. And again, when we begin, it's saying, and all of the earth had one language and one speech. So we're dealing with a large group of people who have this single idea that they're moving towards. And the whole thing is against the Most High. And besides that, the whole thing is contrary to what the Most High had called for the people to be doing in the first place, right? If everybody was going to stay in one location and have this singular mind, at least they could be living their life unto the Most High.
Mhm.
But we have these people where what they're calling to do in verse 4, come let us build ourselves a city and a tower whose top is in the heavens and make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered all over the face of the earth. Well, the Most High, what is for the people to be scattered all over the face of the earth? And so the design of the people at this time is actually diametrically opposed to what the Most High had required of the people in the first place. Let's see what we have over here in the comments. Want you look at where, maybe once, when you look at where in the earth that we see the issue of one language speak, it is still Mesopotamian region where Afro-Asiatic languages are still spoken, though each language is different. Yes, this place over there was basically that area, roundabouts where I don't want in that I don't want to call it the Middle East, the Mesopotamian region. Yes, is probably the best designation of that. Yes, and so yes, there is diversity and there's similarities, but I think that what we see over in chapter 11 is interesting because it's almost like you have this kind of this unification of people's and thoughts in a particular direction. And the direction not only is a direction a path that the Most High, that's contrary to the Most High, but again, we have to think about what it is that the Almighty was calling for us to be doing in the first place. He doesn't want for the people to be he doesn't want for them to be unified because there's so much. No one at this point has kind of honed in on who he is, right? Obviously, as the sons begin to reproduce, it's interesting when looking forward, when you think about where the scripture begins to go with Abraham, that it's almost as if Avram, as we'll see later, almost is meeting with the Most High. It's almost as if it's kind of a new relationship that builds and grows between Avram and the Most High. And so it's almost as if there's kind of this separation that happened over the course of time where, he had to be reintroduced back to particular people. And so again, at this time, we need for this, what happens over here with the scattering of the people to happen because, it seems like the people are going in the direction that, this is where the people just came from. They just came from this situation of gross iniquity, right? And they fell back into this thing quickly, and it's very subtle. It's very subtle, but it is obvious because they're doing all of this again. When we look at verse 3, the verse 4, to make a name for ourselves. It's very prideful, right? It's a very look at me kind of a thing, right? It's they have their hearts to the generic heavens, right? And they're making a name for the specific ourselves, right? And denying the thing that the Most High actually was calling for the people to be doing in the beginning. Let's go back and look at let's go back to the first chapter of Genesis quickly here. Let's go back to Genesis 1. Oh, sorry, that's 2:1. And read verse 28.
And Elohim blessed them, and Elohim said to them, be fruitful and increase, and fill the earth and subdue it, and rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over all creeping creatures on the earth.
He said to fill the earth, right? To fill the earth. How do you fill the earth if if you just have a concentration in a particular spot? But again, if you remember what we just read over in chapter 11, they're saying we don't want to be scattered all over the earth. We don't want to fill the earth. The Most High fill it, and the people there are saying we don't want to fill it. And this is the idea of disobedience to the plan of the Most High is what this is their creed, right? This is the thing that they're building their situation on. Let's build this city. Let's reach it up to the heavens. Let's make a name for ourselves. Otherwise, we'll fill the earth. Otherwise, we'll be scattered all over this whole earth. But meanwhile, the Most High said to fill the earth. So again, the plan of the people, it seems very subtle, but at the same time is in direct opposition to what the Most High has said. What's so bad about these people building a city, coming together, working in unity, doing what they want to do together? Why would the Most High come? He don't want for the people to have technology and these great advances in architecture. He's mad about that. He has to stop it. What's the big deal, right? But when we think more closely about what it is that they're saying, we see that they are going directly against what the Most High is saying. Okay, let's look at something else. Let's go over to let's see here. Oh, read for us chapter 9, verse 1. Genesis 9, verse 1.
It says, and Elohim blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, be fruitful and increase and fill the earth.
He said, fill the earth. He said, fill the earth. And they're saying, no, We don't want to feel it.
Just want to stay right here.
Replenish. What's this word mean here, to replenish? What is it that the Most High is saying for the people to be doing over here, this word here? If we go down to the Strongs, is Malah.
How can you pull this?
Yes, I really have to fix my settings. Excuse me here as I scroll. Malay. To fill or be full of. Wide application, accomplish, confirm, consecrate. Filled, fulfill. All of these, replenish, satisfy. All of these words, right? And so, again, this is what the Most High is called for the people to be doing, and the people are saying, we don't want this. In fact, we can know that here, there's some interesting things that I found about, these, we learned that these beginning cultures in this place, they began to observe, these various constellations and things in the heavens, and of course they began to worship these things, the luminaries in the sky. It's one thing to reckon the sun and the moon and the stars for the thing that the Most High had called for us to reckon them for, our days and times and seasons. But it's another whole other thing when we deal with the idea of, worshiping these things. And this is what the peoples in this area at this time began to do. And so when we look at, what the Most High is doing, he came down because these people, first of all, have a huge influence, right? You have this huge negative influence pulling the people away from righteousness and moving the people, a huge amount of people, into wickedness, right? And so this is what he's combating, right? Not their archaeological advances, right? And not even the fact that they were worshiping idols, because he allows for people to worship idols all over the place. But because of the fact that you have this concentration of what the text is saying is all the people moving in this particular direction, right? He needs to be able to have an opportunity to have his called out ones to come forth, right? And if you have this huge influence that's taking over all of the situation, right? Not that he's not able to work, but the Most High has a plan, right? And these people are disrupting his situation, right? Is direct disobedience to his commands. And so he puts an end to all of this and causes this great confusion among the peoples. Let's see what we have over here. Thank you very much for comments. If the upright don't fill the earth, they leave room for iniquity to fill the earth. They fall into iniquity, even though they all come from Noach a man favored by Yahweh. Yes, this is the issue, right? This is the problem, right? Um, again, we have this same thing happening all over again. And these people, as it said, we always talk about when people want to talk about unity and coming together, we go and we look at these people because they had this one mind to do this one thing, and nothing was able to stop these people. It says, and now they are not going to be withheld from doing whatever they plan to do, because they have come together, and they have this influence that's causing them to be unified. It's interesting when you think about this, as an idea, unity and coming together, and having similar like thoughts and ideas, and planning and putting these things together.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to things that are connected to righteousness, it seems like it's so hard. It's so hard to get people to come together, right? Because we always want to think about the things that we differ on, and we may agree with 99% of things, but we can't be together because of that 1%. That 1%, like if you had 100 things, and you took one thing away from the 100 things, which leaves 99. What does 99 things look like next to the one thing? The one thing is insignificant. If I had $99 for me, if I had $100 for me to lose $1, it's not as insignificant. I feel like I don't even need that $1 versus my $99. But if we're thinking about things, if we're thinking about doctrines, if we're thinking about these things that we hold, these thoughts and ideas that we hold near and dear to our hearts, we can get along with the majority of things, with a sweeping majority. I'm saying 99%. But this one thing that you got over here, I just can't even, right? But when we think about it from the other side, from the side of negativity, let's say, think about how people are about, like, say, music. If you was to talk to somebody about music, right, and the terrible things that is put into our music of these days, what's the difference? Or the thing that's in the music is like the actual music and the rhythm and the melody that's going on. But what percent is the lyrics to a song, and like the melody and the rhythm of it? I wonder what the percentage is. Like, is it like 50-50?
People like those beats.
No. But what I'm saying is, if you was to put a song, like, and make a pie graph, like, what percentage of the song is the lyrics? Is it half, or is it more than half? It's less than half.
People like those beats.
No. I'm not talking about what people's perception of the song is, because yes, they do like the beats, but let's just say like half of the song is what it's saying. And so now you got a 50-50 situation going on.
In their head.
I'm saying you got a 50-50 situation going on, and you choose something that goes against what your thoughts and ideas are in a 50-50 situation, but a 99, okay, our music aficionado,
There we go.
National.
our music expert is saying that lyrics is 50%. If we write it, if we make a song, we're splitting 50-50 with the music and the lyrics.
Okay.
So 50%. So you're gonna go against your thoughts and ideas for 50%, but 1% is you can't do it. That's what I'm getting at. It's like you can block out what they're saying and only listen to the music part, and you don't have no problems with that because I just like the beat. I just like the beat, like how the music makes me feel. Like meanwhile, they could be saying all types of craziness and debauchery in the lyrics, but the music, it gets you. But my point is that when it's something that's positive, like we don't need 50% in order to go to the other side. All we need is 1%. And it's a deal breaker. And so what I'm saying is that it's so easy for us to get lost up into negativity, and it's much harder for us to come together for uprightness and and for righteousness. And so the Most High is saying over here, I can't have these people be in the majority. I can't have these people be in the majority before he's able to solidify righteousness and uprightness, which is the direction that we see he's moving in, right? He's about to start talking to us about Avram. He got to get a foundation. He has to have a foundation set because the people as a whole have forgotten the ways, obviously, right? Because they set their affections on themselves and on the general heavens, which is the luminaries in the sky. It's not the maker. Like if I say I set my affections on the heavens, I'm speaking about the Most High, right? But these people over here, they're not doing that, right? This is about idol worship, and they're including themselves in it, right? They want to make a name for themselves, right? They want to make when it talks about let us make ourselves a name, they want there to be some renown and some fame and a rapport as it relates to the people, right? But we are supposed to be causing for our thoughts and affections and adorations to be towards the Almighty, towards Yah, and not ourselves, right? We're supposed to be diminishing ourselves and magnifying the Most High. Yeah, we got 99 things in common, but we split for just one of those of 100. It's a shame. Okay, so when we think about the reasoning behind the Most High involving himself, again, we have to pay attention to what obviously is the most severe transgression that the people are committing here, and it has to be these unspoken things that we think about when we look over here, when it deals, with what they're saying in terms of, again, like I said, um, the the idea of not wanting to be scattered all over the earth, and the idol worship that is connected with what they're doing. Okay, so let's think about some things over here, because when we look at um, when we look at uh, the Tower of Babel, um, one of the things that I think is also something that we can look at to kind of, a thing that we're able to learn from the situation, is the idea of, not simply thinking about disobedience, not simply thinking about idolatry, because this is obviously what's going on. But when we think about the idea of divine purpose, the Most High, as we saw, had a divine purpose. At this point, it wasn't necessarily pure worship. At this point, it was just the filling of the earth, right? At this point, his divine purpose was to fill the earth. And then once the earth was filled, now he'll establish his pure worship, right? But the one thing that man was responsible at this time was to fill the earth, and these people rejected the divine purpose of the Most High. And so it just caused me really to think about this idea, because the Most High really is calling for his people to be set apart. And we can see this here in this chapter. The problem here is the unification of the people. The problem here is that all these people are coming together in their iniquity, right? But he's giving you the kind of the first stages of set apartness, right? Not going with the status quo, right? Not going along with these things that at this point, this is what the whole earth is doing, right? All the earth had one language and one speech. We look at the things that we see in the world today. We can't look at the world and base things off of numbers. Well, there's so many people that are doing XYZ, right? There's so many people that do this or do that, and then that be a reason to say, well, it must be right if so many people are doing it. To me, I feel like it's the exact opposite of that, right? Let's see where that if we see here, let me just pull this verse up here. Hold on one second.
That's what they use.
That's what who used.
The world uses that logic.
Oh, yes,
The
of course. The
numbers.
world,
They use the numbers
the
logic.
world does use the numbers logic. But we, of course, have to be different. Let me just hold on 1 second. Let me just pull this up here.
Like I feel like they all get together and say, "This is what we want to do."
I mean,
So let's push it in the music, the media, the politics.
well, that is. I mean, what's the
It gets
difference?
pushed.
What's the difference between what we see over here in Genesis chapter 11 and what we see going on in the world today? You know, it's interesting that, and I said this before, it's interesting when you look at, modern, what's popular music. It kind of all has the same kind of sound to it. And it goes throughout the genres. I said this before. I work with these people who play country music, and it sounds like trap music to me. It's like it has the same kind of you hear these sped up hi-hat beats in country music. It's so odd. It's so strange. It's bizarre. But it's almost like they want to have like this one sound that attracts the people. It's almost like I just feel like there's always I don't want to say chanting. I'm trying to say it's like it's an underlying motive that these people are having to unify all these different types of people, to cause all of the people to think about things in the same way. But that's what we've seen over here in the Tower of Babel, where you have this unified thought, these unified ideas that, the people are all being taught. They're being taught something, by the way. This was someone's idea. It's saying, let us come together and do it. But it was someone's idea. Someone came up with the idea, and then people agreed. It don't give us that, huh?
Remember, he said like people liked him.
Well,
he was a mighty hunter.
Well, right. And so you have this it don't say that, it don't give you that, but it hints at it. It tells you in chapter 10 that Nimrod was a great ruler in this area, right? And then it gives you the area, and then you see what happens. We see that all the people had this thought, but who instigated the initial thought? Somebody put it on the table for people to agree, or somebody kind of, I don't know if there was coercion or what happened. We don't know that. Right. But we just see the results. And that is what we see going on in this world today, where there is, in fact, this unified frequency that's used in the propagating of a particular message, and the message is a terrible message, right? It's a message of iniquity that leads us away from the Most High. And so if we look at here, read for us Matthew 7 and let's see here,
Matthew
12 and 13 and 14. Hold on 1 second. Let me put it up on the screen.
Matthew 7, 12 and
through 14.
12 through 14 says, therefore, whatever you wish men to do to you, do also to them. For this is the Torah and the prophets. Enter in through the narrow gate, because the gate is wide and the way is broad that leads to destruction, and there are many who enter in through it. because the gate is narrow and the way is hard pressed, which leads to life, and there are few who find it.
Okay, the way that that Yeshua speaks about is a small spot. It's a small opening, right? It's a small little space. But the wide gate, the broad gate, the gate that's wide and easy to get through, that gate leads to destruction. And there's going to be many people that goes in through it because that way is easy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The easy way is the way that leads to destruction. But the hard way, he says over here, the gate that's narrow, the one that you're hard pressed to get through. Let me just say this. I have a confession to make. If I'm walking and somebody impedes my path and I have to move a little bit, I get angry. I get angry when I'm walking and someone causes me to have to turn a little bit or stop my motion in going forward. I get mad. I get angry almost. I feel like it's the worst thing that someone can do to me. Yes, it's very bad. I have a problem.
I feel like that about when I'm driving.
I have a problem. Driving is the same way, but walking, it bothers me. It bothers me. But when I think about what this scripture is saying, right, the narrow gate is a way that is hard pressed to get into it. So you think about getting into a narrow space, you kind of have to. If you're a bigger person like I am, you kind of have to kind of turn some to get in it, in that space, right? You can't just walk, with your shoulders broadened through a narrow space. You can't get through. It's almost as if these people give me a reminder that, sometimes I have to turn some to get in. I have to lessen myself in order to be able to make it through the narrow gate. I have to humble myself. I have to. That's just pride creeping up inside of me. Who am I to have to bend to your path
that you trying to make for me?
Right. You don't have the right to cause me to bend to you. That's what I'm saying, I guess, in my mind. But the words that Yeshua is speaking over here is that we have to make adjustments and move to fit into this narrow space. Everybody can walk broad-shouldered through the wide gate. It's an easy path, but that path leads to destruction. And so when we think about what went on over there with the Tower of Babel, this is what everyone was doing. This was the way that everyone was doing. Making a name for oneself, right? Which caused us to think about pride, right? This was, this tower that they built, this picture of excellence, right? This tower. It was probably this greatly architectured structure,
modern marvel,
right? For the times, it was probably the most beautiful thing that could have been built by humans at the time. But we again have to think about the idea of making ourselves be low, right? We have to think about the idea of being humble, being, exhibiting humility, right? Yeshua himself, right? The scriptures say that there was nothing that was made apart from him. And he came and became a servant to creation. When he had the power of creation inside of him. But he came and became a servant to us. And so we, can't, when we just exhibit we could never exhibit that level of humility because, with humans, like we're the same, right? We're the same. But still that
we would only be coming from being human, like down a notch.
Huh?
So we could only come down a notch from being human.
Right. But the model is for us to be able to exhibit humility. But again, when we think about Genesis chapter 11, the idea there is, again, what is our divine purpose? What is our divine purpose, right? Because the people was against the Most High's divine purpose, and then he had to step in and hit the reset button. But when we think about our lives today, we have to think about our divine purpose. And I said this a little bit when we spoke at the feast at Sukkot, that everybody has their different gifts, that they excel in, that the Most High has blessed each and every one of us with. However, there is one divine purpose that each and every one of us have, that we're all responsible for as followers of the Most High, as followers of Yeshua. Here, read Matthew 5, 13 through 16.
13 through 16 says, "You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt becomes tasteless, how shall it be seasoned? For it is no longer of any use but to be thrown out and to be trodden down by men. You are the light of the world. It is impossible for a city to be hidden on a mountain, nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it shines to all those in the house." 16.
Yeah.
Let your light so shine before men so that they see your good works and praise your Father who is in the heavens.
All right, very good. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your particular position, stature, what title you have, who you are. This is your divine purpose, to actually be a light in this world, to actually be salt in this world. And when we look back at Genesis chapter 11, they had a divine purpose. It was to fill the earth. Right? There wasn't no Torah. There wasn't no Israel. Right? There wasn't a codified standard of righteousness. They had one thing to do, and that was to fill the earth. However, it's giving us this lesson, of fulfilling your divine purpose. Your divine purpose, is something that trumps all things. And so again, we have these things that we do, but that thing that we do should be something that you're using to be a light in the world. That thing that you do should be a thing that you're using to be salt in the world. Whatever that thing is. Maybe you're good at making chocolate chip cookies. I don't know. Maybe that's the only thing that you're able to do is make chocolate chip cookies. But you need to be magnifying Yeshua in the making of those chocolate chip cookies, right?
Mm.
That is the way that you are. That's the gift that you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever your gift is, you're supposed to be doing that thing unto the master and shining a light on him and his righteousness in you doing it, right? And so, we have to think about what is our divine purpose, because obviously these people over here in Babel, right? They weren't meeting their divine purpose, and the Most High comes and steps in.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting when we think about Yeshua, where let me see where it is where he curses the fig tree. Hold on one second. Let me look this up real quick. Oh, okay. Matthew 21:18. Let's start reading at verse 18.
And returning to the city early in the morning, he became hungry, and seeing a single fig tree by the way, he came to it and found not on it but leaves, and said to it, "Let no fruit grow on you ever again." And immediately the fig tree withered, and the taught ones, seeing it, marveled, saying, "How did the fig tree wither so soon?" And Yeshua answering said to them, "Truly I say to you, if you have belief and do not doubt, you shall not only do what is done to the fig tree, but even if you say to this mountain, be removed and be thrown into the sea, it shall be done. And whatever you ask in prayer, believing, you shall receive."
Okay, very good. So we see this interesting thing happen with Yeshua, master of the universe, coming across this fig tree, right? This fig tree had one job. This fig tree had one job, and that was to be there for Messiah when he needed him.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? All he had to do was just be there for Messiah when he needed him.
Mm-hmm.
He was hungry, it said, right? He became hungry. Messiah was hungry.
Mm-hmm.
He saw this fig tree. He saw it had leaves on it. He said, let me go over here and get some of this fruit from off of it. And he goes over here and sees that it don't even got no fruit on it. It's not even fulfilling its divine purpose. Right? And so then he says, well, if you're not gonna operate according to your divine purpose, then you're not gonna operate at all. That's what he said, right? And then he cursed the tree never to have bear fruit again, right? And then he gets into this whole thing about, faith and casting the mountains into the rivers and all this stuff. But the point that we thinking about over here is that we have to step into our divine purpose, right? Because again, when we look at Genesis chapter 11, again, the divine purpose for the people was to fill the earth. They couldn't fill the earth. The Most High's will is going to be done whether you're part of it or not.
Mm-hmm.
The people tried to not do the divine purpose of the Most High, and then so he caused the people to be confused and separated, and his will is still going to be done. The thing is that, are you going to be part of the process or not?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Are you going to? Because he gonna get somebody to do it. He gonna get somebody to do it, right? Yah willing is you, right? But if you're not able to step up, his will in fact be done. Right? We look at this situation with Yeshua, there's other fig trees, right? There's gonna be other trees, right? Just that one is not going to be working anymore, right? But do we want to be that one that's removed, right? Do we want to be that fig tree that the Most High, that Yeshua says to us, I came and I found you fruitless, so now there's not any use for you anymore? Do we want to be that one, right? Or do we want to be the one that will be there for Messiah when he comes looking for fruit and then finds it there, right?
Oh, I mean, you got fruit that.
Right? He looked at that tree as being purposeless. Right? He looked at it as being purposeless because it wasn't there for him to provide for him in his time of need. And this is what we're talking about in terms of, you know, stepping into our divine purpose, right? I feel like this is the lesson that we learn when we look over at Genesis over here. What we see is the divine purpose being rejected, blatantly rejected.
Yeah.
They said we're not doing that. We're going to do this so that we don't end up doing that. Right? We're going to come together and build ourselves up so that we don't have to fill the whole earth. What do we look like filling up the whole earth? Like to them, it's like the most terrible thing that they could have done. And then look what happens in verse 8. Yahweh scattered them abroad from there over the face of the whole earth. And they stopped building the city. Right? The people had a plan and the Most High had a plan. The people did not fulfill that plan, but the Most High's plan still is going to be fulfilled. Whether those people decide to do it or not. And so, you know, we have to be able to understand that we have a divine purpose. We have a divine purpose of, you know, letting everyone who we come in contact know that Yeshua is in fact the master of this universe, right? He's the master of the universe, not He-Man, right? Not He-Man, but Yeshua is, right? And whether you like it or not, He is in fact ruler, and every knee shall bow and every tongue will confess that He is master.
Yeah.
And so we have to live a life that's exemplary of that. We have to make sure that our life is in alignment with the things that that Messiah has put in place. We have to make sure that our lives are aligned with the Torah, with the law, statutes, and commands of the Most High, not following after the ways of Babylon and these great influencers that, you know, are causing the people to all come together and be like-minded in iniquity. Right? It's so crazy when we look out and you look at what's going on all across the world, and the world is just becoming more and more wicked. And this is just the way of the world. This is the way that things are. And the normal of today is wickedness and, and darkness, right?
Yeah.
And so, we know that we're in this world, but we're not of this world. We have to interact with, these people that are out here in this world every day, but we can't be influenced by this world. We can only allow for the Spirit of the Most High to be our influence. We have to be ones that are going in the opposite direction, right? We got to flow against these influential rivers that are flowing in this world today. We got to be like the trout. Is it the trout that swims upstream against the water? We got to be like that in this world, because this world is going in a wrong direction, and it's going against the divine purpose of the Most High, which is to spread the light of the Master and his coming of his kingdom in this place. And so I just thought it was interesting that, my false salmon. It's salmon that does that. I don't know. You see, I love nature, but I don't know anything about it. I don't know what I'm talking about in regards to those things. Thank you very much. It's salmon that does that. And so, we have to get to the place where, we are doing everything that we can do to be different. Like, I don't want to try to make the ways of the Most High look appealing to the world. Because if I'm doing that, I'm making it look like the world, and the world looks like wickedness to me.
Making it look broad.
Huh?
Making it be broad.
Making it be what?
Broad.
Oh, broad. Yeah. I don't want to make the ways of the Most High. I don't want to open up that gate. Because I don't have the ability to do that. Once I'm trying to do that, I'm turning it into something else, because he said the thing is straight. He said the thing is narrow. The other way is the broad way. The other way is the wide way. And so I can't sit up here and make his ways look like that. I can only present them how they are. And, people have the opportunity to accept his ways or reject them. Many people are going to look at the will and the way of the Master and say, that's too hard. I can't do it.
You just can't do it then.
And that's all that could be done, because he said it was going to be hard. It's not like he's setting people up to come and do this thing. It's easy. It's easy. This thing easy. Come on and do it. He told you it was hard. He said that in order to follow me, you got to pick up your torture stake. Oh, wait, there's a torture stake involved in this? But he said it, though. He let us know that this way is hard. The only way that it's made easy is by the strength that he provides for us, not through our own physical strength, but through the fact that he's along with us, leading us and guiding us every step of the way. That's why he said my yoke is easy, because he's helping us to do it. But the journey, the road is a difficult road. It's not an easy road, but he's with us every step of the way to accomplish his divine purpose. And so I just wanted to kind of briefly deal with that in relation to the Tower of Babel, because it's such a easy kind of picture in terms of seeing the divine purpose of the Most High be rejected by the masses And looking at the chapter, understanding that, seeing the chapter in its fullness, that he's getting ready to build this foundation, of his set apart people. But again, this is Bereshit. This is the beginning. This is how things come about. He's setting the stage. He's setting the stage for righteousness to abound, right? But all of we have to see all of the steps and all of the pieces come together. Okay, so that being said, does anybody have any other thoughts, questions, comments about any of those things in chapter 10 or 11? Okay, well, if not, then we'll go ahead and be done for now. Y'all willing, we'll be back on next Shabbat with another look. I guess we'll be looking at the beginning of the story of Aram in chapter 12. As the plot thickens, we're going to try to, as a channel, we're going to try to get some more content out. We have some things in the making, as it were, and we're going to try to get more content out. We want for those who do come and frequent our channel to make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Share the channel with your friends. Make sure to like the videos, put comments in the videos, and we'll be able to fulfill our divine purpose, which is to be a light in this world. All right, so we'll say for now, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And y'all willing, we'll be back on next